This might be an interesting job for anybody that's watching. I'm going to do a heated seat conversion on a Vauxhall Combo van. Now, I've already done the driver's seat, but I thought as it went quite well, it might be useful to document the passenger seat, which is absolutely identical to the driver's seat. And for those people that are interested in doing this conversion, I'll leave some details below, showing you where you can buy the equipment from, and hopefully if you follow this through you'll be able to make a reasonably inexpensive and decent modification to a utility van such as this. This is a van that a close friend that passed away recently I bought from his wife, and I've been trying to, sort of in his honour, sort it all out. Obviously needs a bit of a wash down there. It's been used for a fishing trip over the weekend. But yeah, I've been trying to sort the whole van out. Done a number of mechanical jobs on it. The thermostat, drive belts, water pump, number of sort of suspension pieces of work on it, you know, braking system. Yeah, it's pretty much had most things swapped on it really, and it's earned the title of Trigger's Broom, so that's become like its joke name. I'm sure some of you all know what that means. But yeah, let's just crack on and have a go with this seating conversion. So this passenger seat is slightly trickier to do because the driver's seat has a adjustment bar under it, but it looks like Vauxhall cheaped out a bit on the combo of this era with the passenger seat and didn't bother with one. But a tip that I can provide to you is if you use two long screwdrivers, or just two long bars really, you can simulate that movement of the adjustment bar with two screwdrivers. So that will allow you to move the seat into a position where you can get to all the bolts that you need to remove the seat, which is stage one of the activity. So I'm going to crack on and do that, take a few videos of the bolts that have unscrewed, and then yeah, we'll probably move on to the next stage then, getting the seat out. So I'll just pause at this moment. So the first two bolts that we're going to have to do to undo the seat are these two at the front. They're a Torx 40, I think. So we've got one here and one, can't see where my finger is, one there. So they are immediately at the front of the seat in line with the gear shift. So let's crack on and do them. So once you've loosened those two front bolts, this is where the two drivers are useful. So if you're doing the passenger seat, you'll find that, as I've said before, you don't have the mechanism that allows you to adjust the seat. But two screwdrivers will work perfectly to do that. Well, two lengthy screwdrivers, not your tiny little Phillips heads. You need a couple of what I'd refer to as persuaders. There you go, we just started the mechanism there going. There we go, got the seat forward. And that should expose the bolts that we need to do at the rear. So there's one there. Ignore all the tow rope. Obviously feeling a bit pessimistic at the moment, expecting to need it, but because I've done some maintenance on the car, shouldn't do really. You can see there. And so the same job here now. Not sure whether the power driver will be up to this task, but if not, give it a crack. Yeah, we've weakened it, but it looks like there's some pretty severe Loctite on that. So I'll have to go old school manual. Wow, there really is some Loctite on that. She's going. Yeah, we're good there. Go and have a crack at the second one in now. There we go. And now we do the rears. Two front ones done. Do realise I said the rears, I meant the fronts. Okay, store them there in a handy little space. And now we should be in a position to get the seat out entirely. So let's wind it forward in terms of the back to make it less to take out. Yeah, something I forgot to do there, and that's remove the seatbelt sensor. Pretty major part there. One of those things though, you realise when you're manhandling it. Quite simplistic to do. Take that plastic cover off, you can see it there. Undo that. Push it to the centre console and out it comes. And the only other slight thing that you have to do is there is a zippy clip attachment down here, there, and it's plugged to a bracket. Now I did realise yesterday when I was doing this I needed a pair of pliers to sort of manhandle that off. An option that certain people talk about with these sorts of situations is to use a pair of snips, snip it off and then redo it, but I'm going to try and do it with the plier approach. So let's see if I can just manhandle it off, and if I can't then we'll have to come back and with a set of pliers. Maybe get one of the persuaders on the job, eh? See how that goes. Not too great at the moment. But I'm sure we'll encourage it out. Decided to bring a little bit more persuasion along. Stopped the video, went for backup, and here we are. So let's see if we can get this now. So a pair of trusty old pipe grips. So we're just going to grip on there. Hopefully you can see that. There you go. Apply a consistent grip. Use the old driver persuader at the same time. I'm sure we will get that. It's all shielded, so there you go. See that? Just like a plug affair. Looks lovely down there, doesn't it? Looks like it's never been cleaned. So now we should be in a position where the seat can come out. And there we go. So that's the seat space. there's the seat removed. So we can take it in now and carry on. But this was a little job first thing, and we can attack the other one later on today. So this is the kit that I've been installing, or starting to install as far as this video is concerned for you guys. It's an Amazon special, likely a Chinese imported kit on the basis of the instructions that I can read. It's really brilliant value. Obviously, if it goes in and fails within the first month, then it won't be such great value, but naturally I'd call on Amazon at that situation. But I'm just going on the basis that after fitting it, it's all gone in, the driver's seat has gone in, and it's heating really nicely, and it looks like a completely factory install. But let's show you some of the bits and bobs that come with it. There's a heating pad here for the base of the seat, and there's a second heating pad there for the back of the seat. And you'll notice throughout the pad, hold it to the window, you can see heating material there, and then you can see a gap, and then you can see a feed up the side. Well, when you start to do this job, you'll find that your seat likely has sections that are sewn into the back of the seat, and I'll show you as we start disassembling the seat how you deal with those. But these channels here, these gaps, you can cut lines through them, and then you can put the internal supports through those lines. So it takes a bit of thinking in terms of where you're going to position the pad in relation to the line, but I'm pretty certain that most seats will be able to make use of this system. So you have the pad there for the top and the base, and then you have the cabling that allows you to feed into a 12-volt supply in your car. I've continued to use the fuse. I do know that some people don't do that, but I wanted to, which did actually work out for me quite well, because every time I switched the seat on from the driver's seat, I kept blowing the fuse and I didn't understand why, and then did a little bit of diagnostics, and I found that because I couldn't really see these cables that connect to the pads, so these here that connect to the pads themselves, the plugs go, the male plugs go into the female socket. I'd managed to crimp together the two metal electrodes in there. Not sure if that's focused or not, hopefully it is. I managed to crimp them together anyway, and they were shorting and causing a fuse, and that's because I was trying to do it without seeing what I was plugging in. So just be mindful of that. If it starts fusing and you don't understand why, it's because of that potentially, or maybe a short to ground. And now, because I had the fuse in, which you'll now see is not in, and I've had to make use of another fuse, because this is the fuse that I managed to blow up. It was a good fail-safe really, because that could have gone in without the fuse and caused who knows what damage, but just a general short, and certainly would have drained my battery at the absolute least. So yeah, I'm keeping the fuse in. So yeah, you plug this system into a ignition switched 12 volt, because what you don't want is the seats being left on and then coming back to your car in a few hours and the car's completely drained. These draw, each pad setup per seat I think draws about 5 amps, so you're really going to suck the juice out of the car in not a long time. A bit like having an electric blanket plugged up to a 12 volt supply and on permanently. You've also got here the switching for the car. So you've got a low setting down here and then a high setting up here. There's an LED on there which naturally you won't see now because it's not connected to any power supply, but you're going to see that when it's fitted in the car, and I'll show you what I've done with that when we get to that stage. There's some instructions. They're exactly as you'd expect. They're completely functional, but there's a sort of strange use of the English language on there. But you'll get by, I'm sure. And then it also comes with some zippy clips. I haven't actually used these. I use my own zippy clips, but I think I will use these ones because I'm sort of running out of my own. So we'll get to dismantling the seat, taking the material off, and then hopefully that'll use the full retraction mode at the side, and then our focus now is on this bolt here. Hopefully you can see that. I'll just check. Yeah, it's this bolt here. Check we have the right socket. No, we don't. This one is an 18mm. Yep. Might be a fair amount of torque. No, not too bad that. Still being quite stubborn there. Let's just keep going. Second bolt. And I think we should be golden there. 1, 2. And there we have a detachment. So now you can see it's going to be significantly easier to start breaking the trim down on this. So now what we have to do is remove all of the trimming material. This isn't the easiest job, but, well, certainly not from an amateur's perspective, but once you get it going, it's all pretty self-explanatory. So this is just clipped over. Hopefully you can see that there. There you go. Phase 1. And then the same sort of task at the back. Ah, in fact, yes. There's another item to remove here. We have this piece that needs unscrewing, this side panel. So let's get this is a standard Phillips screwdriver here. Having to bodge together quite an elaborate screwdriver system there for what is effectively just a Phillips head, but trying to avoid going back out to the van. This here, this screw. And that will permit freedom there. So carrying on here, we remove that plug, as you can see there. Let's see if we can get this out here. It is a Phillips, but I've been lazy and using a flathead, but it's a tiny screw. So that's coming out here. And there we go. Store this over here. Main trim off. So we have to do the side mounts now. Lift there. coming out well. Opposite side, lift. And then there is a little bit of prying necessary here. So we have to carefully separate the metalwork there, which at factory will have been pressed in to secure the front of the seat, so we can just be mindful of that when we are replacing it. There's one piece. There we go. And now you can see the whole trim, in fact the entire seat is separated there. And then this part I found was slightly annoying, but what we see here, if we look over there closely, we see the support structure, and we'll see these pins that hold it down and moulded into the foam, and we need to separate those there. And then I reused zippy clips to replace them, and I've got to be honest that this task is awkward, and the better the snips that you've got, the better the job that you can do. That one was quite good. Quite surprised actually. Let's get this one. No, that one is an arse. Try again. In fairness, so here is the section that will have to go through the heat pad here, that part there. So we need to trim this in terms of the securing mechanisms, and again it hasn't got any easier, but with the good snips you'll be able to do it. These are clearly not good snips. There's one thing I've learnt on this job: I need better snips. I did try dremeling it yesterday. That turned in a bit of a disaster. Spinny things and foam and heat don't really mix. So let's try this one. I think essentially I either need more arms or better snips, and I haven't got much choice on the arms front. So it looks like the next stop is new snips. There we go. And it's this here that needs to fit through this here. See the band? You mustn't put it through the heater filament. It has to go between the two feeds on the heat pad. So these are built specifically for seats that have these supports. Unfortunately, on the combo van, there's only one that concerns us. But what we can see now is the start of the end of the job. So, good stuff. So we can see there, we can see this section here. The see-through section is here, there. And here are the double-sided pads that will secure the pad to the seat. And that's the beginning of the end. So now we have to appropriately cut the heat pad to allow the seat support structure through. I mark here so I can see where I've got to cut. And then what we want to try and do is get as central as possible. So we can see here on our heat pad, central there is about there. And it's centrally aligned on the seat. And so let's put a mark here and a mark approximately here. So now we know what we're dealing with, and we can use this, which is centre. We don't want to go too close to the filament at the edge. There we go. So now we have made a suitable hole through the heat pad, and it's all a case of lining this up from the seat through there. And this is where the modification has to happen, because what you look at here is a line that's much narrower than the heat pad. Now, I was tempted, and I'm finding it works in that hole there and that hole there. So we have shrunk the support by that width, which is no big deal. Cut that off, and now we need to look at putting a support hole here. Not particularly colour coordinated, but assuming the heat pad doesn't need to come out, it's never going to be seen. So I'll take you through a couple of these, and we won't do them all, and then we'll zoom forward to the end. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. There's one there. And then the second one, because we've had to shrink things down, we're going to have to go at somewhat of an angle. So we go through here, feed into here, and there's the second one, and we'll meet when this is all done. And then we trim the tag ends of the zippy clips. And if you have a look there, Take the camera out. You can see how that's supported back into the foam. And so now we secure down the heat pad, and that begins by removing the double-sided, which wasn't the easiest of jobs. Put that to the side, put that to the side, and let's start. Give it support there and work it up the seat. Nice and secure. Feels good. And so let's carry on the back of the seat. And the same here. If I can manage it. Looking good. Even with these sausage fingers. Work it down, work it around. Not half bad. So we have the seat supported in here. Good stuff. Now it's a case of we fitted all the foam support in and we put the clips back, which might be a bit easier because it's undergone a bit of tension there that it wouldn't normally be used to. There you go, is that done? Push the mouldings through. So we have here the feed to the heater element. All the trim is back in. Trimmed. Connection to the upper here. Let's have a look at the top. And that's the seat. Needs a bit of a clean. But I'd say we're looking half decent there. There you go. Combo van really, but I just thought heated seats for a few quid, why not? So here we go. So we're going to position this centrally here, as much up to there as we can, and feed it down so the stress is taken out of the heating element. And then give it a nice firm press, and that is that one done. We are on the home straight now. See that? Now it's time to retrim, which really is putting the coat back on the unruly kid. when you've seen somebody do this job, you would have thought at one stage, oh, I'm not even attempting that. But like all things that you watch on YouTube, when you've seen someone have a go, you think, I can do that, quite easy. This seat trimming lark, it's not rocket science. So we have the base of the seat and the back of the seat here, and it's a case of attaching the two together, Meccano style. Now those sections clip in, and they there slide over. So that's the seat assembly complete. The heating pad has been added in the lower base, and as you'll recall, there is a section here that has a support structure, and that goes through the heating pad where we cut it, and then it's supported up here and now secured internally with zippy clips as opposed to the metal tags. And the same thing here. As you remember, the back of the seat was slightly easier to do because we just stopped here at the support structure there into the seat foam, and we didn't go any further forward because of the size of the pad. So we cut the pad down a little, but you'll recall we absolutely have to be conscious of the fact that we can't cut into the heating filament. We can only cut the paper that surrounds, i.e. the support, and not the heating filament itself. So if we look round the back of the seat, we shall see two protrusions. We have a feed to the upper and a feed to the lower. And then we have this material here that will use us to wire this all into the car. So now it's time to complete the wiring. And I did yesterday's, which was this one here, that's the driver's seat. And whilst I was at it, I drilled the passenger side. And it's a fairly ropey looking hole, but once the switch is in, I'm confident that it will look okay. This is a pretty purpose-built centre console actually, it's quite empty in there. And I started by removing the handbrake gaiter, and I could see that there was a hollow in there, and I did the same with the gear stick stroke shifter lever, and there's plenty of space in there to house all of this. And it all begins with unscrewing this little Torx bolt down here, which I think is a Torx T20. Yep. Let's just have a go with this. There we go. And so it begins. And once we do it here, we're able to place the material that is going to provide the connection through to the car electrics into this section here. The button to switch it is here, and the feed to the seat itself will run under the carpet through here. So I'll get the tripod set up and we can start doing that work. Hopefully I've got that pointed in the right direction, otherwise it's going to be a complete waste of time, but at least you can hear me. So, the first part is the feed to the seat itself, and that begins here. So we run that down there, get that backed up a bit. And we can route that under the carpet. Plenty of space here, so we may as well take what we can. Take a bit more. Perfect, that is. And then we can route the relay in there. Could actually do with a bit of tape on that, so I'm just going to grab some. I'm just going to take this relay to provide a bit of support on the wires that are in there. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but I think I should whilst I'm at it. Just
helps relieve some of the strain on that whilst it's housed where I've decided to fit it, and it doesn't cost much, so let's crack on with that. Then we have to route the switch in here. That's gone through easy. Last one didn't really do that. It was quite a bit of struggle, and I had to use one of those fancy little grabbers. So that's where the feed to the switch connects to the relay itself. And there. Let's give that a bit of tape. A bit of stress relief off the more vulnerable wires there. Again, I don't think it's entirely necessary, but why not? And we can house that in here. Now we need to get the main feed into the section here where we're wiring it all in. We're good to screw that back in now, so we can feel where the cable protrudes at the back and we don't upset anything electrically. Doesn't need much in the way of strength there really. Let's give it a little nip here, because I haven't got my socket set with me, so let's just bosh it in with that. There we go. Job done, nice and secure. Now I think I'm going to take this up here. Keep it out of harm's way from the handbrake. That's the case of getting that up there. I'm going to get a grabber for that. So now we're going to feed this in here, hopefully. Like so, and then grab hold of this here. Well, this is the plan. Doesn't that make life easy? So now it's wiring in time. So we're feeding in behind the cigarette lighter, and I know that's got a 20 amp fuse on it, and I don't really use that at all. And I know from assessing the specification of the draw on these cables, on the heating pads themselves, I know that they take 5 amps a piece, so the two of them will be 10 amps, so I think we're good here. And I think that's it. Just have to add a fuse. Which we'll go and grab now. Fuse is in. Let's see how we go. Game on. So that's the centre console. There are the two heater switches. So we have red for strong power, green for light power. And then here we have the feed that will power the seats when we have the seats repositioned in the car, which is the really easy job now. So we literally got to walk it in to the car, put these 4 bolts down, plug these in, and there you have it. Like I said, turned into a bit of a mini series. Wasn't intentional, but hope it helps somebody that wants to do this upgrade onto their Vauxhall Combo. You can use this knowledge to do any car really, I would have thought. Looks like the gate is needed there next, doesn't it? That looks a mess. But yeah, we're slowly bringing this car kicking and screaming into the year 2021. Pretty happy with how it's going. Little flash of red there for you, and we'll have a green on that one. Thank you very much. Fit the seat. This is probably the most fulfilling and easiest bits of the job really. The front 2 bolts first. And we're back to the T40. And then back to the little trick with the screwdrivers, where we use them as levers to actuate the sliding mechanism so we can get to the back bolts. A bit cheaper than really not to fit a slider bar, but you know. I think that's quite enough. Probably got it. Perfect. Bring it around here so you can see what I'm doing. And to the other side. And so the final part is here. So we have the base and the upper and the connections through to the switch and the power. Let's plug them in. So here's feed 1. Clicked in. Feed 2. Job done. And then we have a couple of zippy clips here, just to neaten everything up. I think we will use that one as a stress relief. Snip that off. And then I think we will attach one of these to the underside tray to support, so items can't get caught up in it. And here we have the final installation. So both seats are in. Give the car a quick little squirt of cleaning fluid. There's the heated seats. Let's give them a try. Climb in the passenger seat. Turn the ignition on. And on we go. Start the engine, give it a bit of juice. Well, it's lit up. And is it warming is the question. The back is, for certain. And the base is. Let's put the drivers on. I think we can refer to that as a bit of a success. Well, thanks for watching everyone, and I hope it's helped you that want to do this job. I hope it's helped you on the way. Cheers!